of 2000 and maybe 2007, 2008, and subsequent, violence that took place in this country, and civil disobedience, and then you say the gentleman became the president, and then the person who won became the prime minister. Sometimes we want to avoid that history, but it's important that we do it so that people know that politics of dissent is good. It might give you a position. It might give you position, but then soon after that, Kibaki passes on, and so you ask yourself, why couldn't you just think about the country and not yourself? Because you're not even going to live that longer anyway. And so I wish that we will learn from such experiences, and then in such a place where people are now sending their eulogy, sending their prayers, sending their support for the family, that we will have. I know Oding'S, for a fact, I've been to his mausoleum, has won. But his son, Oding'S, was a vice president, the first vice president we had. And his son, Raila Oding'S, is now, was actually the second prime minister we ever had. And so I pray that Prime Minister Raila Oding'S, the family will find it fit to build for him a museum with all his regalia, including those books, and people will sign them from all the counties and the prayers that they had, and the things they thought about him, and then put it in a book. And then in that book you can put it in a museum, and then a few years down the line you can go through it and say, me, Fatma, so and so, I was here when Raila Oding'S died. And you can say, tell your grandchildren a few years down the line, look, I was there, I witnessed it. And if you want to know that I was hugely involved in the political arena at that particular time, go to that place and you'll find my name there. And it's exciting.
And a long paragraph.
Yeah, it's exciting.
It is exciting.
That happens. Yes. And so I hope that we will have something like that so that we can honor Raila Oding'S well. Yesterday I had one of the funniest comments ever, and people said, Kenya was given to us by colonial government, and for that reason, look at that road. You don't know, you honestly don't know how you want to pass that bridge, going over there, because people are up and people are down. So you don't know how that, and I think it is important for us to, from what you said, Fatma, that maybe the time might be extended, because if you're looking at that crowd already on the road,
I don't think they're going to make it by 2, because remember they have to go to Lee funeral first.
Yeah. So when you're looking at people already, and that's Raila for you, you cannot blame that on the people. You
cannot.
Because when Raila came out of the country, you remember the famous quote, Baba, while you were away, when he came back, people were all over that road until town. And this is their final ride. This is the final time they will ever follow Raila or march with him from the airport to anywhere in this country. So give it to them. Give it to them.
And people have stopped their day-to-day routines to go and welcome the Right Honorable.
In fact, when I was driving over here, I actually realized that there were the traffic wasn't there. It's as if, we
like
know that there's another public holiday there. Let's give him his rights and give him his final public holiday called by us. And so there was no traffic on the road. People somehow expected that there would be a serious traffic snarl, and for that reason, they just pulled back. And then rightfully so. So what I'm saying from what you asked is, I think it is important. We want to send our condolences. I don't think the family will ever get time to read all those condolences. But you know what? Somebody will. And from that book, Fatma, one day you become the governor of whichever country. Where do you come from?
I am from Mombasa.
So you will become the governor of Mombasa one day. And then people say, but where did she begin? Oh, she was an anchor, and then she was also actively involved in politics. She signed this book. That means she was following some ideologies and philosophies of a man who fought for this country. Those kind of things. And then she became a governor. So this lady has not just come from nowhere. This lady That is what history, and that is what is important in this leadership arena that we have. And that's Ida and Ruth Odinga was...
She's emotionally grieved.
Yeah, you can imagine.
You can imagine the pain
one
that
of the
she's going
things,
through.
one of the things that will bother her for the rest of her life is the fact that the husband died while she was in this country. That will bother Ida.
Yes, she was not there.
That will bother Ida. Because it might have not looked serious when former Prime Minister was going away. But you know what? He was there with the sister. He was there with the daughter. He was there with the aide. And he was there with the personal doctor. And what will bother Ida is what would have this guy told me just before he died. Because when you're married, there are few things that your spouse will tell you
Right before they
that
die.
he may not be able to tell his daughter or his sister or somebody else.
The final words.
That final word. And a moment like Ruth is saying that I was there.
And the final
And there's
words
nothing
give you
you could
some kind of closure, believe it or not.
And there's nothing you could do. And then you get a phone call that the people who are there is not even her, as Ida Odinga. And yet, if there's anybody who was supposed to be there more than anybody else, was Ida Odinga. And people have written a lot. But me, I don't care about what others have written. What I care about is what Ida is feeling at this moment. What happened that I wasn't there? That is a question that will linger in her heart until the day she goes in the grave.
I believe it's because the final words offer some form of closure. And for human beings, actually, closure is what makes you make peace with something so you can be able to move on. Without that closure, it becomes very hard for you to move on. As you rightly say, she's probably going to be thinking about that for a very, very long time. And yes, people have written about it. People have talked to the extent of people saying there is no way that the Right Honorable Raila just died if the wife was in the country.
Well, that is true, and that's something that say anything we can all the reasons as to the plausible reasons that we want to put out there, and we can exonerate her and not not even blame her for that. But I'm talking about her as an individual going through that emotional damage, torture, emotional destruction, and thinking, what happened? And that I have to be told. Yet, in the struggle of life, when Raila Odinga was in jail, she patiently waited. And when Raila Odinga came out of jail, what happened? She was there to welcome him. In all the struggles that they've had, the the single party rule, the multi-party democracy, and the struggles of multi-party democracy, the struggle about the new constitution. Those were hard moments. Those were moments when Raila was on the street. They would be imagined. Raila perhaps need to be more tear gas canisters in this country than anybody else. In fact, Raila need to be given a medal for all the tear gas that
Dele sitafika tao saa 10.
Alafu parliament
haiwezi. Unaona nini? Wangea lift keyboard.
Sasa hizo basi zinaweza kuelanda hapo sio. That is the only way.
Unajua ikuje tu blade zikufanye.
Yes.
Hawezi karibia.
Yes, wataweka.
Kuna military wanaendelea hivi. Watanyang'anya hiyo mwili hapo.
Wanajitahidi sana.
Unajua alikuwa amenyang'anya?
Haisi ni.